Dear Dr. Phil, can I have a sip of water? My throat feels so dry, bitter, just like my life right now. People look at my family, and everyone says I must have accumulated 7 lifetimes of good karma to have a father-in-law like this. My husband works far away, and his father cooks for me, tends to me, even does the laundry for his daughter-in-law's diapers. They praise him as progressive, praise him for loving his child and cherishing his grandchild. My husband even tells me I should be grateful to his father, but does anyone know the truth behind this care? It's hell, a disgust so profound I just want to claw my own skin off. They say a daughter-in-law should avoid her father-in-law like the plague. Yet, my father-in-law, using the guise of love, has turned me into his sick plaything right in my own home. Can you believe it? A 60-year-old man, my father-in-law, my child's grandfather. He doesn't use a breast pump or a warm cloth. He forces me to unbutton my shirt, lie on my back, and use his own mouth to unblock my milk ducts. The first time he did it, I was frozen with pain and panic. I thought it was an emergency, a necessity. But no, Dr. Phil, it didn't stop there. For 3 months now, every single day, when my baby sleeps, he locks the bedroom door, forces me to undress. He says my breasts are too soft, that I have low milk supply, and that he needs to massage the acupressure points with his hands to stimulate milk production for his grandson. He touches my skin. His rough, calloused hands caress and squeeze my breasts, the breasts of his daughter-in-law. His eyes look at me with a greedy, wild glint, while he spouts moralistic rhetoric. I consider you my own daughter. This is science. Don't think so darkly. I'm just helping my grandson. I lie there, staring at the ceiling, tears streaming inward. I feel filthy. I feel like a dairy cow, an animal in his hands, not a human being. I want to scream, to push him away. But the label of a loving grandfather, my husband's absolute trust in his father, it crushes my resistance like a boulder. I'm scared. I'm afraid if I speak up, my husband will kill his father, or our family will be torn apart. The world will call me a slut. Dr. Phil, what should I do? I'm disgusted with my own body.
Welcome, everyone. Before we delve deeper into today's poignant story, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and leave your comments and support for our guest. Your words are a small flame warming frozen hearts. Sarah, I am truly chilled to the bone hearing what you've just described. Using his mouth to unblock milk ducts, forcing his daughter-in-law to undress and massage her breasts daily. That is not care. That is abuse, a perversion, disguised as family affection in the most blatant way I have ever heard. I understand why you are so terrified. You are trapped in a cage of hypocrisy built by your father-in-law. Let's take a deep breath. We will unravel this story together and find a way out for you. You mentioned fearing your husband would kill his father or that the family would be destroyed. This shows your husband deeply values filial piety and likely trusts his father implicitly. Tell me about your family situation. Why is a young woman, during the most sensitive period of pregnancy and childbirth, living under the same roof with her father-in-law in an isolated house? Where is your husband, and how could such perverse care creep so easily into your life unnoticed?
Asking about my husband, just mentioning him now makes my heart ache even more, because he is a good man, a loving husband, a devoted son, but it is precisely this naive devotion that has inadvertently pushed me into this lion's den. My husband, Mark, and I have been married for 4 years. He's a civil engineer, constantly on the move for work. He's away on construction sites all the time. Sometimes he's only home for a few days a year. A quick buzz cut, a kiss for his wife, and he's off again with his backpack. My husband's family is small. My mother-in-law passed away from cancer 10 years ago. Since then, my father-in-law has raised Mark alone. He's known as a widower raising his son. He worked tirelessly, day and night, never remarried, fearing his son would be disadvantaged. Because of this, Mark sees his father as a monument, a living saint. He worships his father and follows his every word. He always tells me, "My life owes my father so much. He sacrificed his youth for me. As his daughter-in-law, you must repay his kindness. Don't make him sad." Those words have been a vice gripping me since the day I became a daughter-in-law. Last year, Mark was home on leave for a week, and I became pregnant. The whole family was overjoyed. But before the joy could settle, Mark received orders to go to a hydroelectric project in the remote Appalachian Mountains. It was expected to take 2 years. When he left, he was very worried about me. He suggested hiring a housekeeper or having my mother move in, but my father-in-law dismissed it. He said hiring outsiders was expensive, and who knew if they would be sincere or if they would steal or harm his grandchildren. As for my mother-in-law's family, they are elderly and already have grandchildren to look after in their hometown. Why bother them? I'm still healthy and sharp, he said. I can take care of my daughter-in-law, who is like my own daughter, and my grandchild, who is my treasure. I'll handle it. My husband was so touched, tears streaming down his face. He held my hand and told me, my father is very progressive, not old-fashioned like the elders of the past. He loves us more than anything. You'll be safer with him than with anyone else. You must be good and obedient to him. At the time, I was naive and thought simply that my father-in-law truly loved his son and grandson. I never imagined that the progressiveness my husband was so proud of would become a cover for his later perverted desires. In the early days after my husband left, my life was quite peaceful. My father-in-law did indeed take great care of me. He did all the housework, woke up early every morning to buy the best ingredients to nourish me. He didn't even shy away from delicate tasks like washing my intimate apparel. At first, I felt embarrassed and hid my lingerie to wash myself, but he found it and scolded me. Your belly is so big. Why squat and risk harming the pregnancy? Your clothes are like my daughter's. What's embarrassing about being dirty? I'll machine wash them clean. At that moment, I only felt a little shy. Then I thought, he must really see me as his own daughter. I didn't realize these were the first steps of exploration. He was gradually breaking down the minimal boundaries of gender between a father-in-law and daughter-in-law. He was making me accustomed to him touching my most private belongings. Things started to get strange as my pregnancy progressed. Entering the 7th month, my father-in-law suddenly became very interested in prenatal education. He brought home stacks of books and pictures for expectant mothers. He said he had registered for a prenatal class in the district for young parents, but since my husband was away, he would attend in my place to learn how to care for his grandchild. Every evening after dinner, he would make me sit and watch TV with him, programs teaching prenatal massage. Then he'd say, the instructor said regular belly massage makes the baby smarter and prevents umbilical cord entanglement. Lift your shirt, let me see if the baby's position is favorable. I flinched, quickly pulling my shirt down to cover my belly. No, father-in-law, the doctor said. Everything is fine during the ultrasound, and I'm shy. His previously cheerful face suddenly darkened. He sighed deeply and said reproachfully, You're being difficult, aren't you? I'm doing this for my grandson, not because I desire your swollen belly. You're thinking darkly and tainting my good intentions. You're making me very sad. He used psychological manipulation, DrPhil. He preyed on my insecurities, on my gratitude. I was afraid of upsetting him, of being seen as an ungrateful daughter-in-law with twisted thoughts. So, I sat still, held my breath, and slowly lifted the hem of my shirt. His large, rough, warm hands placed themselves on my belly. Initially, he massaged in gentle circles, murmuring to the baby inside. But then, his touch began to change. He didn't just massage around the navel. His hands slid lower, down to my lower abdomen, close to my private areas. I flinched, curling up. He remained calmly there. I'm just checking if the baby's head has descended. I need to press down firmly to know. His eyes were fixed on my exposed skin. It was a strange look, DrPhil. Not immediately lecherous, but sparkling with curiosity, a desire carefully hidden behind the guise of science. That night, I tossed and turned. I asked myself, am I overthinking this? Would any father-in-law grope his pregnant daughter-in-law? Surely not. He's a decent man, I told myself, deceiving myself. I lulled my intuition with the neighbor's praise, with my husband's trust. I didn't dare tell anyone, not even my own mother. It was too embarrassing, and I had no concrete evidence. People would think I was crazy, bored, and seeking attention. Then, the day of my delivery arrived. My husband came home for exactly 3 days, took me to the hospital, saw his child, and rushed back. The project was in its final stages. Before leaving, he hugged his father, his voice choked with emotion. "Father, I entrust everything to you. My wife is inexperienced. Please guide her and take care of my wife and child for me." My father-in-law patted his son's shoulder, his voice firm. "Don't worry about work. Everything is taken care of here. I will care for your wife and child attentively and thoroughly. They won't lack anything." At that moment, I found those words touching. Now, thinking back, they send shivers down my spine. His words attentively and thoroughly carried a terrifying implication that no one could have foreseen. After my husband left, the spacious two-story house was left with just the two of us and the cries of a newborn. The gates of hell officially opened that night when I had a blocked milk duct, as I told you earlier. But DrPhil, the horror wasn't just in that act of using his mouth. It was in the way he manipulated and forced me every day afterward. After that emergency, he came into my room very early the next morning. He brought a bottle of coconut oil and a book with anatomical diagrams of the female body. He said he had researched more last night. Blocked milk is caused by compressed milk ducts. Now, we need a deep massage therapy, twice a day, morning and evening, consistently, to maintain milk supply. I shook my head vigorously. I clutched my baby. "I'm better now, father-in-law. I can do it myself. I don't need it." He slammed the door shut. The click of the lock echoed chillingly, making my heart leap. He walked over to the bed, his face stern, all traces of gentleness gone. He pointed at me. "Don't be stubborn. Look at your baby. So thin. It's because your milk is hot, not flowing." I consulted a doctor. They said a man's hands, a man's yang energy, are needed for massage to produce more milk, cool and pure. "Are you going to let my grandson drink formula full of chemicals?" He used our child as a shield again. He struck at a mother's weakest point, the fear of her child being hungry, underdeveloped, wanting the best for her child. He made me feel that refusing him meant harming my own child. I weakly protested. But I'm so shy, father-in-law," he sneered, a twisted smile. "Male and female, what's that? I'm your father. I've seen you naked since you were a baby. What are you trying to hide now? Am I doing a good deed only to be wronged? Hurry up and take off your shirt." And so, in the tightly shut room, with the curtains drawn, I had to swallow my tears and tremble as I unbuttoned my shirt. I lay down, closed my eyes tightly, trying to imagine I was somewhere else, trying to detach my soul from my body. His hands, slick with coconut oil, began to massage. It wasn't the decisive acupressure of a physician, DrPhil. It was a massage full of pleasure. His hands caressed my breasts, played with my nipples. His breath on my neck was hot and rapid. Occasionally, he'd sigh, "Wow, so much milk today, so full. Let me taste it to see if it's sweet." Then he'd lean down. "DrPhil, each time this happened, I wanted to die. I lay there like a log, tears soaking my pillow. I didn't dare push him away because I feared he would harm my child, feared he would tell my husband. I asked myself why my life had come to this, why a respectable father-in-law had turned into a lustful demon. Sometimes, after he finished, he'd wipe his mouth, look at me with satisfaction, and say, "See, I told you my hands are skilled. Your Mark doesn't know how to enjoy this precious gift." That sentence was the ultimate insult. It confirmed that he didn't see me as a daughter-in-law but as a woman to possess in his son's absence. I live in constant turmoil. On one side, utter humiliation. On the other, the facade of a happy family that my husband cherishes. My husband calls, cheerful as ever, "Thank you, Father. Thank you, dear." He has no idea that the father he respects is tormenting his wife's body daily, and the wife he loves is being turned into a sex slave for his own father. DrPhil, that house is so cold. By day, doors shut tight. By night, his footsteps echo in the hallway. I feel like I'm locked in a cage with a predator, playing with me, licking me before devouring me, and I know if I don't escape, the worst will happen sooner or later. He won't stop at just massage, DrPhil.
Sarah, hearing your story pains me deeply for women. You have been caught in a sophisticated trap. This trap was set by the husband's absence, by blind filial piety, and by a perverted pathology disguised as scientific practice by an educated man, he is not only raping you physically, but also mentally. He made you believe that enduring his molestation was a noble sacrifice for your child and husband. It's a double crime. But Sarah, you just mentioned a crucial detail. He won't stop. Exactly. The desires of perverts are like a monster. The more they are fed, the hungrier they become. You said you sense imminent danger. Has something happened recently that pushed your fear to the limit?
Yes, Dr. Phil. It happened just 3 days ago. That incident was the last straw, compelling me to take a bus here to see you tonight. It was a bitterly cold, drizzly night in Chicago, with a biting wind. His attitude all day was strange. He didn't force me to breastfeed like usual. He seemed cheerful, cooked a hot stew for me, and drank wine by himself. He paced back and forth, smiling at me with a peculiar smile. Occasionally, he'd make casual remarks. "It's so cold tonight, isn't it? Lying alone, you must be freezing, or Mark is having a good time, leaving his wife and child cold here. How foolish." I found his words unpleasant, but dismissed them as drunken ramblings. After dinner, I took my baby to my room early, intending to lock the door and sleep. Around 10 p.m., just as I was drifting off, I heard a knock. Knock, knock, knock. I startled awake and called out, "Who is it? Father-in-law?" His slurred voice replied from outside, "Open the door. I have something wonderful for you." I hesitated, but thought, what if something urgent happened, or he's drunk and fell? So I opened the door a crack. Dr. Phil, what I saw made my blood run cold. My father-in-law. In his hands he held not medicine or water, but his pillow and comforter. He stood there, reeking of alcohol, wearing thin pajamas. His eyes were bloodshot, fixated on my bedroom, where my baby was sleeping. I panicked and asked, "Father-in-law, what are you doing?" He chuckled, a lewd grin revealing his yellowed teeth. "It's so cold, child. My room is drafty. I can't sleep. Your room is warm and draft-free. I'll sleep here tonight." I was stunned. I stammered, "Father, what are you saying? Please go back to your room. I'll turn up the air conditioning for you. You can't sleep here." It was strange. He didn't listen. He shoved the door with his shoulder, trying to force his way in. "What's strange? I can sleep at the foot of the bed or next to the baby. If the baby cries in the night, I can make milk or change diapers for you. You just sleep and rest. I'll keep both mother and child warm." The word warm he used was incredibly suggestive and repulsive. I quickly gathered all my strength and pushed him back. I screamed, "Father, you're crazy. Go back now. Men and women must maintain distance." "Don't scare me." Seeing my strong reaction, he became enraged. He glared at me. "Are you forbidding me? This is my house. You are my daughter-in-law. I'm just sleeping with my grandson. What am I doing to you that you're reacting like a scalded cat? Do you look down on me because I'm old? Or are you waiting for someone else?" As he yelled, he deliberately tried to wedge his foot into the doorway. I was terrified. I threw my dignity aside. I used my whole body to block the door, pushing him out forcefully. Fortunately, he was drunk, stumbling, and I managed to push him sprawling into the hallway. Seizing the opportunity, I slammed the door shut. Click! Trembling, I latched the flimsy lock. Then, I dragged the plastic wardrobe in front of the door and piled 2 chairs on top to barricade it. My heart was pounding like it would burst out of my chest. I leaned against the door, gasping for breath, sweating profusely despite the biting cold. But the nightmare wasn't over. Outside that thin wooden door, he didn't leave. I could clearly hear his wheezing breaths through the gap. Then, he started banging on the door. Not a loud, angry banging, but a rhythmic, thudding sound. He banged slowly, deliberately, calling my name. His voice alternated between sweet seduction and angry threats. "Sarah, open the door for me. I'm so cold. Will you open it or not? Are you letting me die? You ungrateful child. I just want to lie down for a bit. I swear I won't do anything." "Sarah," his calls echoed through the empty house like a mournful cry. I hugged my baby tightly, covering her ears so she wouldn't hear her grandfather turning into a demon. I grabbed a fruit knife from the table, clutching it tightly. I told myself that if he broke down the door, I would fight to the death, stab him, and then kill myself. I would never let him touch me again. All night, I didn't dare close my eyes. I sat huddled in the corner of the bed, my eyes fixed on the flimsy lock that rattled with each of his blows. Every time he fumbled with the doorknob, my heart leaped. I imagined the door bursting open and him pouncing on me. I was so scared I couldn't even cry. My tears had all welled up inside. I looked at my phone, wanting to call my husband, but what would I say? That his father was banging on the door demanding to sleep with his wife? It was midnight. My husband was probably fast asleep after a hard day's work. If he answered, would he believe me? Or would he say his father was drunk and rambling? Please be understanding, dear. Empathize with father. Helplessness washed over me. I realized I was utterly alone in this house. Around 3 a.m., the banging finally stopped. I heard the shuffling of his slippers as he went back to his room. Then, the sound of his door slamming shut. Only then could I breathe freely. I put the knife down, my whole body numb, unable to move. I looked at my sleeping child, her innocent face. I was in so much pain, DrPhil. She didn't know that her grandfather, the man her father revered, the man the neighbors praised, had just tried to turn her mother into a sex slave right on this very bed. The next morning, I thought he would be ashamed, apologize. But no, he woke up early, made porridge, and was cheerful, as if nothing had happened. Seeing me emerge from the room with my baby, my eyes dark and swollen, he casually asked, "Sleep well last night, dear?" I was so drunk, I don't remember anything. Did I knock asking for a blanket and you didn't open? How mean of you. I was freezing. He treated last night's events as a harmless drunken episode, continuing his role as the kind, pitiful father-in-law. His normalization of everything terrified me immensely. It proved he was a cunning, calculating pervert, not acting on impulse. He was testing my limits. Today he knocked. Tomorrow he might break down the door. Today he was drunk. Tomorrow he might use drugs. I realized that flimsy lock couldn't protect me forever. And the knife in my hand, I didn't want to use it to kill. I didn't want to go to jail. My child couldn't be an orphan. Right then, I knew I had to run. I couldn't hesitate another second. If I stayed in that house for another night, I would surely be raped, or I would go mad and do something drastic. DrPhil, I fled like a criminal in my own home. I lied, saying I was taking my child for a vaccination, and took a bus straight here. I didn't dare go to my parents' house for fear of shocking them or facing village gossip. Now, I stand at a crossroads. Going back means death. Moving forward, I don't know where to go. My husband still knows nothing. He just texted, "Have you and the baby eaten? What delicious dish did father cook today?" Reading my husband's message, tears streamed down my face. How can I answer him, DrPhil?
Sarah, listen to me. You are not a criminal. You are a victim saving your own life. Your decision to flee was absolutely correct, completely correct. That night, if that lock had broken or if you had weakly opened the door, tragedy would have struck. He wasn't drunk. He used alcohol as an excuse to act recklessly, to test your reaction. And the next morning, he feigned ignorance to pave the way for future attempts. That's the tactic of professional predators. He wants to make you his mistress while his son is away. He wants to commit that disgusting, incestuous act right in his son's bed. You did the right thing by holding that knife for self-defense, but you did even better by putting it down and taking your child, because your hands must not be stained with the blood of that filth. Your future and your child's future are long. You are safe now, but your battle is not over. The real battle begins now. The battle to confront your husband and unmask the man you call father. You asked me how to answer your husband? It is time to tell the naked truth. You can no longer hide it or sugarcoat it. Your husband's text message, "Did father cook anything delicious?" is the most painful irony. You must tell your husband that the most delicious dish his father wants to eat is his wife.
DrPhil, you say I have to tell my husband the truth, to unmask him. I understand. I want to scream his true face to the whole world. But DrPhil, you're not in my situation. You don't understand how much authority he has in this family. For Mark, my husband, his father isn't just a father. He's a living God. Mark lost his mother as a child. His father raised him single-handedly, never remarried, sacrificed his youth, went without food and clothing so his son could go to university and become an engineer. In Mark's mind, his father is a symbol of great sacrifice, the most moral man in the world. He always says anyone who touches his father touches his life. He lives to repay his father. Now, if I call and say, "Honey, your father molested me, he wanted to sleep with me," what do you think his first reaction would be? Would he believe me? Or would he think I'm crazy? Or would he think I'm a slut, bored at home and causing trouble? Or worse, that I'm having an affair and trying to frame his father to escape punishment? I'm so scared, Dr. Phil. I'm not afraid of being beaten, but I'm afraid of my husband's disgusted look. I'm afraid he'll say, "You're a disobedient daughter-in-law. My father is old, and you dare to smear his name." I have no evidence. I couldn't record his words because I was always in a state of panic. I couldn't film him touching me because he made me lie still with my eyes closed. It's all just my word against his. A frantic woman running away in the middle of the night, against the image of a venerable, hard-working old father who sacrificed his life for his son. How can I win this unequal battle? Moreover, he's very clever, Dr. Phil. He's a cunning fox. Right after I left, he called my husband. While waiting in the green room, I saw my husband's text. Father called. He said you took the baby and left without permission. Father says you've been unstable lately, irritable, and paranoid, thinking someone is watching you. He's very worried and wants me to call you back immediately before you get sick in this cold weather. See? He preempted me. He's turned me into a postpartum, depressed, paranoid wife. He's playing the role of a father worried about his daughter-in-law, calling his son to lure me back. Now, if I tell the truth, it will only fit his paranoid narrative. My husband will believe I have a mental illness and never believe his father is a pervert. He has blocked all my escape routes. I feel like I'm running headfirst into a wall. Sometimes I think, why don't I just die? I'll take my child, jump off a bridge, and leave a suicide note denouncing him. Maybe then my husband will believe me.
Sarah, calm down. You absolutely must not think about death. Death is the end. Death is losing, and death means leaving your young child to be raised by that very pervert. Do you want your child to grow up in the hands of a monster? If you die, he will play the role of a grieving grandfather, whitewash all his crimes, and you will be eternally slandered. Listen to my analysis. Him calling ahead proves he's scared. The one in control never needs to rush to defend themselves. He's afraid you'll tell the truth, so he's hastily branding you as depressed and paranoid to invalidate your words. That's his weakness, and it's indirect evidence that he's guilty. You say your husband worships his father. That's true, and it's the biggest obstacle. But Mark is also a husband, a father, and an engineer with logical thinking. Ask Mark a question. If I'm crazy, why would I abandon my warm home, my home-cooked meals, to take my child out into the freezing night? Would a mad person be afraid enough to protect their child like this? The truth has its own power, Sarah. Even if you don't have recordings or photos, you have details. A paranoid person couldn't invent horrifying and meticulous details like unblocking milk ducts with his mouth, massaging acupressure points with coconut oil, those greedy eyes, and those chillingly moralistic words. Tell your husband everything, every detail, just as you told me. Don't add or omit anything. Don't be overly emotional. Tell it coldly and precisely. The starkness of those details will awaken your husband's primal instinct. No matter how much he loves his father, when he hears descriptions of his father touching his wife's body, a man's possessive and protective instincts will rise. And you must prepare yourself for the worst case scenario. Your husband still doesn't believe you. If he chooses to blindly believe his father, to prioritize filial piety over the safety of his wife and child, then I'm sorry to say, this marriage has lost its meaning. A husband who cannot protect his wife, who doesn't trust his wife, and allows her to live in danger is indirectly complicit in evil. At that point, you will be heartbroken by the loss of your family, but you will retain your life, your dignity, and your child. Are you willing to make that trade? Are you willing to accept the collapse of the idol in your husband's heart and the collapse of your marriage for the peace of mind of you and your child?
You ask if I'm willing to trade? Honestly, Dr. Phil, I'm terrified. I'm not ready yet. You're not in my situation. You don't understand how terrifying it is to risk everything. Mark is my first love, my only support. If I speak now and he doesn't believe me, if he scolds me, I lose everything. I lose my husband, my child loses her father, and I'll be labeled as a woman who slandered her father-in-law. In my hometown, that label is devastating. People will drag me through the mud, and I'll never be able to rise again. The thought of Mark looking at me with contempt, calling me crazy, a slut, makes my heart clench, and I can't breathe. Sometimes I think, am I a coward? Should I just stay silent? Should I make an excuse to go live somewhere else for a few months to smooth things over? Maybe he'll get scared if I make a scene and back off. If I blow this up now, the family will be destroyed.
Sarah, I understand that fear. It's very normal for a wife who wants to preserve her home. But my dear, the home you're trying to preserve has already been hollowed out from the inside by termites. You want to stay silent to smooth things over with someone who dared to sneak into his daughter-in-law's room in the middle of the night, who has committed these perverse acts for 3 months straight. Do you think your silence will make him stop? No, Sarah. Your silence is complicity. He will think you consent or are easily swayed, and next time he won't knock. He'll break down the door. Then you won't have a choice anymore. Look at the baby in your arms. If you go back, can you guarantee you can protect her 24/7? Do you want your son to grow up learning his grandfather's twisted ideology?
My son, you're right, Dr. Phil. If I go back, I'll have to live in constant fear. I'll go mad. But telling Mark the truth, it's so difficult, Dr. Phil. How can I tell my husband that the father he worships is a pervert? That's too big a shock for him. I'm afraid he'll break down, or he'll resent me for shattering his image of his father. I don't know where to start. I'm trembling.
Start with the naked truth, Sarah. Don't add or omit. Don't be emotional. Recount exactly what you told me about the coconut oil, the flimsy lock, his breath. Your husband is an engineer. He has a logical mind. Those chillingly detailed descriptions are not something a paranoid person could invent. You're not destroying his father's image. He shattered it himself. You are simply helping your husband see that painful truth. Sarah, I'm not forcing you to decide immediately. But I want you to understand one thing. Tonight, you are out on the street. You have no turning back. Either you move forward towards the light, despite the thorns and pain, possibly losing your husband, but retaining your dignity and your child's safety, or you turn back to that dark cave and accept your soul and body being gnawed away day by day. You choose to go forward. For your child, you choose to go forward.
Dr. Phil, I really have no turning back. I can't go back to that house. The thought of seeing his face, smelling that coconut oil on his hands, makes me want to vomit. Whether Mark believes me or not, I have to speak. I have to speak to free myself. I can't carry this shameful secret within me forever. It's too heavy, Dr. Phil. Mark might be shocked. He might curse me. I'm prepared. If he believes his father and kicks my child and me out, then my fate is sealed. I'll be a single mother. I'll wash dishes for a living, collect scraps to raise my child, as long as I don't have to undress in front of my father-in-law anymore. Tonight, I'll take a bus straight back to my parents' home. My parents, though old, will surely welcome me with open arms. I'll call Mark home. I want a 3-way conversation with my parents as witnesses. I won't be afraid of his manipulation anymore.
A very clear-headed decision, Sarah. I support you. In this critical moment, you've managed to keep a cool head to plan your next steps. That's very impressive. You're right. Your and your child's safety is the top priority right now. Go where you feel most protected. When you are safe, Your words will carry more weight. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah's story today may shock many, even make them disbelieve. We often praise family bonds, the sacrifices of parents, but we must also bravely acknowledge that somewhere in the darkest corners of some families, festering wounds called sexual abuse and incestuous thoughts exist. The most terrifying are not strangers on the street. The most terrifying is a pervert disguised as a father, a grandfather, hiding behind the glorious facade of love and morality. The father in law in this story exploited his son's absence, his daughter in law's naivete and filial piety to satisfy his vile desires. He used fake science to legitimize his molestation. He used family ties to bind his victim to silence. It's a double crime, destroying the body and killing the soul and trust of a person. Ladies and gentlemen, be vigilant. Listen to the women around you. The line between care and abuse is sometimes thin, but intuition never lies. If you feel uneasy or disgusted by an act of care, speak up immediately. Don't let the words family become a cage imprisoning your life. Family is truly family only when it brings peace and respect. Otherwise, be brave enough to step out, like the woman named Sarah today. Thank you for watching. We wish you a peaceful and safe night.